those are the two kind of topics that I want to cover today. But first things first, I know paying it forward is a very American term, so I just want to get a very quick sense of how many people in the room have heard of it. Can I get a quick show of hands? Wow, okay. So it's different to most rooms. I think that's fair to say, right? You know, not that many people have heard of it. So that's kind of goes without saying. So we know what that is. I think it's something that more and more people are getting into. I think that's fair to say, but it's something that I only really discovered or really got into about a year ago. So I'd watched the film, the 2000 film with Kevin Spacey, thought it was cool at the time, but I really got into this about a year ago, and off the back of it a few things happened. So those are the three things I want to talk about today. So why, as in why am I here, not why am I here today, sort of a need for change. It's again related to sort of the big idea, and that's kind of what I shared with John, and that's what I'd like to share with you guys today, and hopefully you guys will join us. So the why. So about a year ago, roughly around about this time was the time I think I came to the first Yes Group meeting as well. And roughly around about this time, I was in Barcelona for an event called the Mobile World Congress, which is like the world's biggest telco event. Really, really inspiring place. Mark Zuckerberg did the keynote. WhatsApp had just been bought by Facebook. And I was sat in like a little cafe around 3, 4 o'clock, having a panini. And there's like a Chinese lady that kind of sat next to me, sort of asked me if she could sit down. She sat next to me. And just casual conversation, and then later, maybe 3 or 4 hours later, I saw her on stage, and she was the chairman of HTC, like the mobile. I was like, wow, it's in this amazing place with all these amazing people changing the world. And I was there, you know, all paid for by the company. The ticket was like 1,500 quid. I was there, all paid for. And yet, you know, I just felt like, you know, I had a really good job that, you know, can't complain, but I felt like I was there with all these amazing people, and I was really, you know, I was busy running around. I had like 12 meetings a day every day, and I was this like really small cog, and I felt like, you know, in a place like this, it was almost like, okay, I need to do something different. So I kind of decided around about that time that I was going to leave my job, and I was going to take sort of a year off to go traveling, figure out what I want to do. And that's when I started thinking, okay, you know, if I could do anything, you know, what would I do? And I kind of knew that I wanted to play within kind of the tech space, because that really excites me. And like watching Zuckerberg there and sort of seeing all these companies, if you like, changing the world was really, really inspiring. Then it made me think, you know, if I could make a difference, or if I could make an impact, in what areas could I play? Because my skill set, you know, I'm not scientific, so there are certain things I can't do. So there are two sort of problems, if you like, that I identified. The first one was this sort of over-reliance that we have on money, where we've kind of put it on a pedestal. It's interesting out in the first talk, but we put it on a pedestal and we kind of equate everything, or we equate all value, maybe not everybody in the room, but most people equate all value to money. And we often boil everything down to kind of pounds and pence, right? And I was like, that's, yes, there's fundamentally absolutely nothing wrong with money, and money is a measure of value, but it's only one measure of value. We've got other things like time and energy and all these other things. So that's something that got me thinking. I think, you know, we've had recession, sort of the debt crisis and things like that, and I think that's, you know, that was at the forefront of my mind. And the second thing that kind of bothered me a little, if you like, is that this lack of a sense of a community these days. I think, you know, I think it's fair to say that we all, you know, human beings being sort of social creatures, we crave connection, and I feel this real sense of disconnectedness, especially in sort of the Western world. So I don't know who my neighbors are, for example, and many people don't, and I felt, you know, it would be great if there was some way where we could connect people together. So that's kind of where I started. So I was like, okay, if I want to really, make a difference, there's no point doing something small. I was like, okay, I'm pretty ambitious. I'm like, okay, let's just do something big, and let's try and change the world or make an impact in these two areas. And that's how I came up with my big idea. So initially, for the longest time, I always wanted to do a startup, and I always tried to come up with business ideas. Couldn't for the life of me come up with anything half decent. But then once I decided I was going to leave my job, for sure, no matter what, if I couldn't come up with an idea, I was going to go traveling. I had a whole bunch of really, interesting stuff come in. So anyway, I thought I came up with my one big idea, and I decided, okay, I'm going to share this with some people and make sure I'm not crazy. And I kind of pitched, sort of, I kind of tried to identify if I could go into starting a startup with anybody in the world, who would they be? So I came up with 3 people, and I pitched it to those 3 people on Skype, and they all loved it, and they all kind of agreed to leave their jobs and do this with me. So it didn't quite pan out that way, but because life gets in the way, and so it was Simon was one of them. His wife Helena was the other. She's still very much involved, but in order for Simon to quit his job, Helena's working. So that's the third. And the fourth was a friend of mine called Nick in Miami. He's getting married this year, and he's getting his green card this year, so he can join us. But anyway, the 2 of us decided, right, we're gonna take this big idea and we've got our jobs and sort of run with it. So, sorry. Right, so these are some of the stuff that we talked about at length. So we were like, okay, what is it that we want to do? So we wanted to do a startup. It was going to be a tech startup, kind of an app or a site, something like that. We registered a company and called it Human Capital Project. This is around sort of April next year. And we believed that every single one of us can bring to the table a whole range of skills, interests, knowledge. We believe that there's more to sort of value than just money. So we believe in human capital, our time and energy. And we believe in sharing that freely amongst each other. We feel that when you take money out of the equation, the interaction, the quality of the interaction improves massively. And we also feel that it's a lot more of a fulfilling exchange when there's no money involved. So just as an example, imagine, you've got, let's say, a bicycle that needs mending, and you found somebody off country who's willing to come and fix it for you for a 10 hour, 20 whatever it is. They turn up at your door, you may greet them. It's very much a transaction. You may say, oh, bicycles are back, you're off carrying on with your work. He'll be done, you give him the 20 quid or whatever, and he'll leave. Maybe not, but that's how I do it, right? If you met somebody in a different scenario where somebody offered free of charge to come and help you fix your bike, it's going to be completely different. You're going to meet them at the door, you're going to be so grateful that they've taken time out of their day to come help you out. You might grab a beer, go sit down with them, he may teach you how to mend the bike. You may learn that you've got lots in common, you may go riding together, become friends, whatever. I know it's a bit cheesy, but I believe that the very act of removing money from that interaction changes the quality, the essence of that interaction. So that's something that we believe very strongly. Me and Simon shared this idea, and then we came up with this. So the logo that you see was our very first logo. It was going to be called Barter, the startup. It's going to be called the People's Economy. And I actually hunted down there's a lady that owns barter.com, so I found her. I emailed her and I tried to barter for the domain name. And I thought it would be a great story, right? So I emailed her, I spoke to her on the phone later. I said, look, we're trying to do this social experiment. She'd been squatting on the domain for 12 years, so nothing was happening with it. So me and Simon talked about it. We're like, okay, we'd probably pay maybe 500 quid, maybe even $1,000, but we really wanted the domain name. And she was really patronizing, and she said no. So that kind of forced us to kind of think beyond that. And I think it was a real blessing in disguise, because we then bought, eventually we bought healthfulpeeps.com. I think it was for £1. And you know, the whole idea here with the karma economy is that the more we thought about it, this idea of bartering, it didn't stack up, because statistically, to find two people that want exactly what the other person has is very, very hard to find. Even through scale, if we manage to connect the two people, if there was any sense from one of them that they weren't getting as good a deal as the other person, barriers go up and no deal, right? So, and also on top of that, you know, we did a little bit of research when we were still trying to get the barter domain, and it was like, you know, people referring to it as like haggling or negotiating, bartering. Also, you know, when capitalism collapses, like in Greece, people go back to a barter economy. It kind of felt like it might be a step backwards. Also, then I looked into the kind of bit of research, and it was about 3,000 years ago that we started moving towards from a barter economy to our sort of current sort of cash economy. So we started thinking, and we were like, okay, we want to do something a little bit more progressive. It's going to be a step forward, and then came up with sort of karma economy. We didn't coin it; somebody used it a couple of times before. But it's this idea that, you know, as society matures and as we move up Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we do stuff just because we can. You know, and it's just this idea of it fits in with paying it forward. And if you think about it in terms of kind of allocation of resources and efficiency, if you had a network of, say, 5,000 people, and, you know, somebody wanted to learn French, and they in turn would, you know, be happy to mow somebody's lawn or whatever, right? The likelihood of, so the way it would work is somebody would want to learn French, they would help them, and then whoever needs to mow a lawn, you know what I mean? I'm rumbling now, but the idea is that, you know, it's a really, as long as everybody participates, as long as everybody puts their best foot forward.
Not the stinky one, I am.
As long as they do, it's a really good allocation of resources, because the people who need it the most get it. And there are, you know, there are lots of kind of like bulletin board type sites out there which say, oh, I'll offer X for Y. Now the thing is, sometimes people don't want the Y that you're offering. You know what I mean? And that stops the transaction from happening. So the way I look at it, you know, if somebody wants something that you're happy to offer, or you're able to help with, just help them, because you can. And then in turn, when you need somebody, the community will be there for you. So that's kind of the idea behind it. So we, you know, we rebranded. That's our new logo. I think it's a lot better than the original one. And we saved money on the domain as well. So that's kind of how we arrived at the karma economy. So that's now the big idea. So we are a social sharing network that makes it easier than ever for people who want help to connect with people who are able and willing to help for free. And these are some of the benefits that we offer. So be part of a new kind of society. This is kind of a little bit idealistic maybe, but it's just a place where your status within our community is determined not by your job title, not by your bank account, but just based on your actions. So the more people you help out, the higher your karma score, and that is what's going to determine your status within the community. Access to a wide range of good skills and services. So at the moment, if you need help, you've got maybe 4 or 5 people that you can call on your phone, your real friends, family. The next step is kind of Facebook, which doesn't really work, I feel, because people are on there for a whole host of different reasons. They have cat pictures, baby photos, whatever. So you will get access to a whole range of services, skills, people through Helpful Peeps. You can extend your network of friends based on, you know, your location. You know, again, taking money out of the equation. Hopefully, there's opportunities for you to meet people that like the same kind of stuff. And then the last one, experience the joy of giving. So again, it sounds kind of counterintuitive that, you know, as you give, you know, people say you give, you have less, but there's plenty of science that backs up that there's a really, really good ROI to it. So as you give, you know, and again, we're kind of going back to kind of energy and karma and all that, but there's definitely the science that backs up that, you know, at the very, even if it's just that warm, fuzzy fulfillment feeling, that's still a better ROI than not giving. So these are just some of the benefits. That is our homepage at the moment. We are running a pilot in Bristol. So we've been launched 2 weeks now. That's the homepage. I hope all of you guys will join us. But basically, you pop your email in, click join us, and then you get an invite within 24 hours that lets you access this page, which is